Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This is Doyle. You're listening to Spirit Talk Show, Bedtime Stories for Grown-Ups. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to us. We are available on our website, spirittalkshow.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all the places you can hear podcasts. We are still with Lizbeth Meredith. We're coming back for our part 2 with her. In the part 2 of our conversation with author Lizbeth Meredith, we go even deeper into the story of Pieces of Me. In part 1, we reveal trauma and tenacity and the harrowing journey through the justice system. This episode is about what comes next: healing, reflection, and rebuilding. Lizbeth opens up about what life looks like after survival and how she and her daughters moved forward and what lessons she learned in the years since rescue. We explore the ongoing realities of parenting with trauma and the necessity of community support and how Lizbeth uses her platform today to advocate for others facing domestic violence and family separations. We also talk about the power of storytelling, the memoir, the film, and even the new tools like AI can help survivors reclaim their narratives. It's a raw, honest, and ultimately hopeful continuation of a conversation that reminds us the story doesn't end when the crisis is over. We have a few questions, but we've asked questions that weren't even on our list here. So, wow. So let's see. I know like authors who've made like books and it hasn't been a positive experience. So you're very lucky to have had such a positive experience. So
I've had both. To be realistic, I've had both. I don't want to make it too. You mean books that have been made movies or
yeah.
books in general?
Well, I have a friend who wrote a book that was a Kevin Costner movie, and he his name is David Brin. He wrote the book The Postman, right? And I've known him personally, and I don't think it was a terribly positive experience for him. And I know like other authors who. So you're very lucky to have had that experience.
I thought you meant just writing a book in general. Yes, I was lucky. I was lucky that this one and only production team, picked my story and that I trust them so much and they're so ethical and wonderful. And I'm lucky in that I had realistic expectations because it really didn't sell a lot of books.
Yeah.
And movies don't sell books and people aren't reading quite what they used to. But the flip side, the only negative I can say that wasn't even a negative was I think people got the impression, people going through the same crisis that I used to go through, that I could fix find their kids or extricate their daughters out of a bad relationship or talk to. And the sum total of that soul crushed me for about 12 months. I tried meeting with people by phone, that. I am still working. I'm not a wealthy person. So that was really hard for someone who takes that very seriously. But I eventually learned to what I could do and what I can't do. But I love the experience and I hope that it inspires hope. Anything is possible.
Wow, that's great. So
I think you were pretty. You mentioned that it was a Canadian production company that made the film. So
yes,
you were probably pretty lucky that it wasn't a Hollywood production
Amen.
company. Yeah.
Well, actually, a person we're interviewing after you tonight is a Hollywood producer, and one of the questions we're posing to him is like, why the way Hollywood makes movies is like different from Canada and Britain, and how everybody's gorgeous in the Hollywood movies in Britain, like people have bellies and warts and bad teeth, and why they have to create this false world. The man next door has perfect abs, when the man next door does not have perfect abs. But the man next door is beautiful, but these movies have convinced us you have to be this gorgeous out of a Gold's Gym, to be a regular person. So
agreed.
So what we do is we create these tribute stories to guests, and we give you the opportunity. You can read it if you like, or we can read it to you if you like, whichever you prefer. Howie can read it to you. The guests frequently have Howie read it, which is fine. But if you would like to read it, like you can read your tribute story if you'd like. Okay.
Howie, I would love it if you. I
Okay.
love when somebody makes up their mind for me. So Howie AI has answered the call.
Okay. Well, so this is research that we did on you, and we looked at your website, and we combed through stuff. We had AI research too. Like AI can research people. You'd be kind of shocked about what you can find. The reason I go by Doyle is not my first name. My name, unfortunately, my full name. There's people with my full name who have some online associations that aren't great, because so when you look up me, my full name, it's not me. You're finding most of the stuff is not me, but it's some bad stuff like people hurting kids and stuff, and it's not good.
Okay.
So that's why I go by Doyle, which is actually my last name. Okay, so
It's a great name.
Yeah, I like it. So here's how he's going to read the tribute story.
Okay, a tribute to Lizbeth Meredith, the storyteller who fought for her family and then the world. There are some stories that shake you, others inspire you. And then there are stories like Lizbeth Meredith's, ones that do both at once, leaving you breathless not just from the pain, but from the sheer force of the human spirit. Long before she became an award-winning author, Lizbeth was a young mother with a dream most of us take for granted, to raise her daughters in safety, with freedom, and with love. But when that dream was shattered by abduction and betrayal, she didn't let the darkness win. She fought across borders against systems and through the crushing weight of trauma to bring her daughters home. Pieces of Me, her memoir, is more than just a book. It's a map of heartbreak, courage, and grit. It's the kind of story that stays with you long after the last page because it reminds you of what's possible when one person refuses to give up. And when it became the TV movie Stolen by Their Father, Lizbeth's bravery reached an even wider audience, allowing countless survivors to feel seen and heard, and maybe even a little less alone. But Lizbeth didn't stop when her daughters were safe. She took the scars and turned them into light for others working in the very justice system that once failed her, mentoring survivors and guiding others through their own storms. She started Persistence U, a podcast that echoes her personal mantra that we don't just survive trauma, we transform through it. Her writing, her advocacy, and her refusal to be defined by what happened to her made Lizbeth not only a powerful storyteller, but a living testimony to resilience. She has shown us that persistence isn't about perfection. It's about showing up over and over again for the life you believe in, even when it breaks you open. Lizbeth Meredith is a hero in plainclothes, not because she wanted to be, but because she had to be, and because in doing so, she gave the rest of us permission to keep going too.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
That was
Thank you.
I'm happy to send it to you when we're done here. I can email it to you. Yeah, that was really sweet. And you are heroes don't wear capes. Let me tell you, people have said that to you, right? Not all heroes wear capes.
That makes me nervous because I'm not. I'm just a person who loved her daughters, and also I didn't do this alone. So I'm very average, very ordinary.
Yeah.
And don't do a lot of, there are a lot of things that other people can do easily that I can't every day of my life. But I love that. And that's going to be used at my funeral if I get one.
Okay,
Feel free to send it on because I planned the whole thing out, but that's perfect.
I think you're being modest. I have a keen insight for people, and you are a fireball. You do not take things sitting down. I can tell it just in your eyes. True. Just looking in your eyes online, I can tell. Yeah, you do not mess with this person. And children, I know how the mama bear the eyes come. So
right.
Well, you had mentioned that you would be willing to read part of your book on the show.
Sure.
Did you want to? This would be a good time to do that if you'd like to do it. How we
now both Doyle and Howie, just so you know, I felt kind of guilty that my offering to the world was many essays on trauma and resilience, and then a book that makes people cry.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a funny book. So I was thinking about reading a little bit out of the novel. That's funny.
That's great.
Is that okay? Or would you rather I go back?
No, that's perfect.
No, I think laughter is one of the best tools for trauma. I mean, laughter.
even in the thick of crisis, at a funeral, with the child abduction, there always something you can find to laugh about. There
Yeah.
really is. And I felt the whole time that that was important for me to remember to laugh. I couldn't just withhold that for 2 solid years. But
Yeah.
this book is called Tilka Faces the Odds, One Man at a Time.
Okay.
And it was released, the audiobook was just some months ago, but this was released in October. And this is really about a middle-aged Alaskan. This is really about a fictionalized view of what a younger me would have been like if I'd been a little stronger. But there is a phrase in Alaska about dating
Yeah.
that the odds are good, but well, let me back up for a second. There's a phrase in Alaska, and I think in other states too, about dating. There used to be a theory that there were so many men compared to women in some of our, especially our rural areas.
Yeah.
And so people would say, well, you should go to Alaska. And a
Yeah.
woman's response would be, well, the odds are good, but the goods are odd.
That's
And so
funny.
it's very funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is about a middle-aged Alaskan woman who, and in real life, my daughters had a huge fight in their late teens. And when I say fight, I mean like a fight.
Oh, wow.
And I heard rumbling and I'm thinking, what is going on? Well, it turned out they had been staying at home with me on weekends because they felt sorry for me because I had given up dating.
Yeah.
And so one of my daughters sat me down and said, look, you're not getting any younger. You're 40, you're the last of your cute years. We're about to leave the house and you're going to be more alone and more pathetic than you are even now. And we're worried about you. You need to get out there and you need to meet someone, no matter how you do it. And then she cautioned me. She said, but my sister and I are really attractive. We're hot. So don't bring home a pedophile. Be careful who it is because
my gosh.
I know. And she was dead serious. I laughed so hard. But this book was on that madcap adventure of trying to meet the right person,
Yeah.
trying to find a soulmate for a middle-aged Alaskan single mom. And then what happened?
Well, before you read, by the way, you know you're gorgeous, right? I mean, your cute ears. What are they talking about?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Thank you, Doyle.
So, okay.
And you know it's true when a gay guy says it.
Yeah, when a gay guy says it, you know, it's like, you know, the gays don't lie about that
This
stuff.
is my
right?
night. This
Yeah.
is just my night. This is, although I will also confess to you, this is the most activity I've had in years right now.
Wow. Wow, it's cool. I love you so much. I'm thinking third co-host, Howie? Third co-host on the Spirit Talk Show? Wow. I'm loving it. Okay, we'll let you
Oh,
read.
this is fun. So a big part of this book, and the main character, her name is Tilka. She has a therapist named Rupert Sloan. And so she's there to talk to Rupert about, she's at his office, there to talk to him about her, what's been going on with her daughters and how worried they are and what should she do with that information. So let's see. Okay, so I talk a little bit, so Rupert eventually, this is giving a background on Rupert just a little bit. Rupert eventually coached me through my first date a year after my divorce and helped me decide when and how I would ever introduce a man I was seeing to the girls. I would like to think I had not grown dependent on Rupert. I'd gone years between sessions. But a decade and a half after our first meeting, I was still grateful to have him for consultation whenever I hit a bump. And finding out that I may have wrecked my daughter's teen years by becoming a social recluse was definitely a bump. How did I get here? I asked Rupert as I allowed my eyes to dart around his newly refurnished office, admiring the shiny black leather glider, the large canvas of a sunflower, and the cushions he'd added. How do you think you got here? He asked with no hint of impatience. Is it because I overshare? I asked, hoping he would disagree with me. Only you can answer that. Is that still an issue with you and the girls? I thought back to the many times I treated my daughters as friends or used them as sounding boards, despite Rupert's warnings. You're going to parentify your daughters, he had said after an incident in which I'd told Rosie and Natalie, then 11 and 13, that we couldn't go on a weekend trip to Seattle because I'd bounced a string of checks. Let them know you're cutting back on expenses. That's it. Don't burden them with adult matters, Rupert had said. After that, I was careful not to parentify my daughters, or so I thought. Should I ask the girls where I went wrong in their upbringing? I asked Rupert, shifting in my chair. I was only half serious. This time his face reddened. Tilka, you're doing it again. So ultimately, it's a large back and forth. And
Yeah.
then I make the commitment that, no matter what happened, I would go all out.
Yeah.
Tilka would do anything she could to find that father figure, find the man of her dreams. And if it meant going on J-date or matchups
Yeah.
or fix-ups, it would work.
Well, no spoilers if people want to find out if Tilka did find the man. Tilka Face the Odds is available on Amazon and anywhere you can buy books, basically.
That's right.
Is Barnes & Noble still around?
Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Around, yeah.
I don't know if it's... I don't know. Well, I was going to say it's like Circuit City, like Fry's is not around anymore. Wow, that was
I know.
sweet. I love your wit and a sense of humor. You have a way of writing that's just so endearing and draws you in, and we have reading too. And wow, that was cool.
Thank you.
So you want to do something fun? We sometimes do this thing where we do a script. I just share my screen.
You have to share your screen.
Let me see if I can share the screen. We
Let's see if it works.
we sometimes do let's see, window. Is that it right there? Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh,
is it working?
can you see that?
You did it.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So I have your, this is that's something different. What I did here, but you read it. What I did is I created a story based on the synopsis of Tilka and to Tilka Face Odds. So AI kind of rewrote based on your description of the book, right?
I love it.
But then also what I did was I wrote a screenplay, a radio play about a Liz who helps two gay guys get through their trauma. So now it is created by AI. It could be cool. It could be kind of lame because AI, sometimes it makes something really profound and great, like the story and the tribute
Right.
to you. But then sometimes it makes something that's like it was written by a seventh grader, right? so it's okay. It's fun to do, but it's like, okay, it's a bit predictable and stuff. But let's read. Did you want to read the? It's quite short. It's the short story about it. Basically, Tilka and the Odds. It took your synopsis and rewrote it.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, I did use AI to help me write book group questions. And then I attributed that in my book also, but that helps. AI can do great writing prompts, outlines, all kinds of things.
Well, it's a tool.
So
It's a
absolutely.
tool. If it's doing all the creating, not good. It's a tool. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Okay, let me know when you want me to start.
Okay,
Make
you
sure
can
my glasses
start
are clean enough.
whenever you're ready. And do I need to zoom it in, make it bigger? And I'm gonna
Maybe.
I'm gonna
Maybe you
scroll.
could make it a little bigger and then I could get rid of the glasses.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see. How can we do that?
Good. I think that's good.
Okay. If I so I'm going to teleprompt and I'm going to move it like this as you talk, but I'll make sure that I won't, like, when you get to the end of the word Alaska, I won't be doing this where when you're reading a sentence, I'll kind of move it down right during the pauses between paragraphs. I'll move it down like that, right? Okay.
One of my students, I told her that I was going to be on this podcast today, and she's writing her paper on, because I teach at a nursing school.
Yeah.
She's writing her paper on AI and nursing. And what happens, she posed the question, when power goes out and you're having a surgery done by robots, if your connection goes bad. So it is an interesting question that AI is.
It's funny if that person wants. We had Roger Smith on a show, which is one of the most experts in AI surgery in the country, and was on our show last season, I think.
Last
Last
season,
season,
Mm-hmm.
he came on, and so he's a cool guy. I'm sure he would speak to her if she wanted to speak. Yeah.
I will look at that. That would be amazing. Thank you. And I will look up that episode.
All
right.
It's Roger. His name is Roger Smith, I think. I will look up to make sure. Roger, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but I will look it up to make sure I have the correct name here in a second. Okay.
Love it.
So
Okay.
okay. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Chapter 1, Moose, Men, and Mixed Signals. If you've never wrestled a space heater into the back of a Subaru at 20 below while swiping left on a guy named Grizzly Bear 69, then you probably haven't dated in Alaska. Tilka had, twice, and she had the frostbitten dignity to prove it. At 46, with a teenage daughter who texted in riddles and a job at the Department of Family Services that left her needing both therapy and duct tape, Tilka considered herself a seasoned Alaskan. She could fix a broken sled with dental floss, identify bear scat at 50 paces, and knew precisely how long a man would last after saying, "I'm not really into commitment," before the winter set in. Still, there was one challenge she hadn't quite mastered: love. It wasn't that Tilka was unlucky in romance. It was more than that. It was more than that Alaska blunt, brutal, beautiful Alaska didn't exactly play fair. The odds are good, the women often said at book club, but the goods are odd. And, and Tilka had met her fair share of odd. There was the Reiki healer who believed in Bigfoot, but not child support. The fisherman who brought her a halibut on the second date. And of course, the poet who lived in a yurt and refused to wear shoes for spiritual reasons. But Tilka wasn't giving up, not yet. Not while she still had 3 frozen casseroles, a stack of romance novels, and a daughter who looked at her like she'd already become the eccentric aunt in a Nora Ephron movie. So she made a plan. Every week, one date. No excuses, no ghosting, no survivalist prepper who believed the government was tracking his chickens. Just one brave, open-hearted attempt at connection. And maybe, just maybe, one night where she didn't have to shovel snow off her porch in a cocktail dress. Because love, like Alaska, was wild. It was unpredictable. It was occasionally armed. But Tilka had her boots laced, her bear spray handy, and her heart shaped despite it all, still open.
Okay, that was actually really sweet. I think it makes good stories when I have good prompts. So I think your prompt of your description of your book was good. So it made a decent story. How did it compare to you?
I thought it did a really good job. Man, I mean, if I would have known AI more before I started this book, because the first draft was written in 2013, but I think I could have made it so much better. But this way, it is mine, except for the book club questions and a couple of writing prompts. This was beautiful. It's really very descriptive.
So I looked up, that's season 3, episode 24. Dr. Roger Smith is the guy who's involved involved in AI surgery. So look it up. So now we're going to do the fun thing, the play.
Okay.
Are you ready for the play? So
yes.
It's called The Weight We Carry, The Stories We Share. The characters are Liz. Now you can be whatever character you want, but the characters are Liz and 2 gay guys. So I don't know, whatever you want to do. So Liz
I could play Liz. It seems like it would be a natural fit.
It says midlife, which is an odd way of saying middle-aged, warm, with no nonsense, with the depth of someone who has walked through the fire and now tends to other sparks. That sounds like you.
Oh, I love it.
And then there's Marco in his 30s, witty, guarded, recovering from emotional abuse, cynical about healing. And there's Dorian in his 40s, a quiet artist and recent widower, haunted by grief, just beginning to open up. So are you going to be Liz then?
I will, and you should be Dorian because you have the house haunting situation.
Okay, well, I guess I'm Dorian.
Okay, and I'll be Marco.
So,
good.
Okay, well, here we go. Let's go. So the first, you're Marco, starts, kettle whistles, a storm taps softly at the windows, the low murmur of a fire crackling.
You know, it's a real-life crisis when three queer adults end up in a cabin with no Wi-Fi and just one working space heater.
I don't know why it made you queer there, Lizbeth. I don't know why it did that. Okay, your character is queer. That's right.
We're apparently a throuple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great. You're gorgeous. Okay. And no wine. That part feels personal.
Trust me, if I was planning a retreat, I'd at least bring brownies. This is accidental hospitality.
More like emotional house arrest.
Funny thing about being struck, you start hearing things you've been trying to drown out.
Pause, the fire crackle.
Stuck. Sorry. It's funny thing about being stuck. You start hearing things you've been trying to drown out.
What did you say? Did you say struck? Sorry. Okay, let's do that line again.
I did say that. Okay. Funny thing about being stuck, you start hearing things you've been trying to drown out.
I guess it probably happens when you're struck too, right? You probably hear things. Okay, going back to the play. Pause, the fire crackles, quiet. Sometimes silence is louder than grief.
Amen. Especially when your ex's voice is still in your head telling you you're too much or not enough or both. Depends on the day.
He trained you to believe that. It's not your truth.
And what would you know about?
Liz knows. She's the reason I didn't cancel this weekend.
Right. You're that Liz, the one who chased her kids across the world.
Technically, I chased justice. The kids were just the reason I kept breathing.
And now you podcast about persistence. I can't even persist through my voicemail.
Persistence isn't about pushing through. It's about showing up again when you'd rather disappear. And by the way, you're already doing it.
How did you even keep going after all of that?
Some days I didn't. I wanted to disappear too. But every time I looked at my daughter's empty beds, I remembered I had a choice. Fall apart or fall forward.
I'm getting hit in the feels here too again. Wow. The wind gusts against the cabin windows, then quiets.
What if your whole life feels like falling?
Then maybe it's time someone caught you. Let me ask you both something. Who taught you that survival had to be lonely?
Silence. A log shifts in the fire. My husband was the only one who saw me. Now it's like I'm a story that no one wants to read.
Then rewrite it. Tell it loud and let someone else say, me too.
You really believe stories can do that?
I know they can. My memoir didn't just save me. It made me real again, to myself, to others, even the parts I was ashamed of, especially those.
Would you read something from your book?
Sure, but I want to hear yours too. You may not have written it down yet, but you've lived it, and that means it matters.
Papers rustling up. By the way, I didn't know it was going to depict actual part from your book here, which is kind of scary. That did AI actually read your book here? But sorry, papers rustling, fire softens beneath Liz's voice.
One day, I stopped waiting to be rescued. I became the storm, and somehow in the middle of it, I found home again. Not the one I lost, the one I built with bruised hands, tear-soaked maps, and a heart that refused to close.
Is that actually from the book, Liz?
No, it is
okay.
not.
Okay.
It writes much better than I do, and now I'm mad about it.
Sorry. Talk about the mood. We're supposed to be in the feels right here. Okay. And now,
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was funny. That's what the show is about, warts and all. Then it says pause, and Dorian says, "That was beautiful." But now it looks like I'm saying us laughing was beautiful. The thing you read was beautiful. Okay.
And a little terrifying. But yeah, maybe it's time to stop waiting too.
Good. Because I made coffee, and healing's always better with caffeine.
I was supposed to be laughing. The storm fades outside. Storm fades, a mug being poured, a crackling fire. I think, and you're the narrator.
Okay, narrator. Sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones who shout. They're the ones who listen, who remind us that surviving is holy, and that, even in the dark, someone else's story can be the match that helps you light your own.
Wow. So what do you think of that script there, Liz?
Wow. That was pretty amazing, actually. And that was AI generated?
That was AI generated. I told it to, after I researched you and I looked at all your stuff, I compiled it into a document, which is the document you're looking at here, which I can share with you if you want. It has the questions we were going to ask. We didn't ask them all. And it has a little intro I did, which, by the way, you didn't hear because I did it before you came, but I can send it to you. The intro I did in the show here, it's right at the top here. And then I put that all in a document and say, now let's write a 3-person script with Elizabeth and 2 gay men to see about, and this is what I created, yeah.
I love that. And I love that AI independently decided that I was gay too for this. I'm like, how did that happen?
Maybe it's telling you
Sometimes
something.
AI surprises you. Yes.
Maybe it's telling
exactly.
you. Do you reveal what town in Alaska you're currently living in?
I am living in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, because
So
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So I moved after I retired from probation work,
Yeah.
and here I am. So my daughters come see me, or we meet in the middle, or sometimes I'll go there. But yes,
Oh,
I did. I decided to move.
your daughters are living in Alaska.
They still are in different spots in Alaska.
So I love Alaska. I went there last May, and I'm from Ireland. Like I am from Ireland, and the Ketchikan is so much like Ireland. The weather, the feel is so much like when I
Really?
got there. I walked around for hours, and I was like, "Wow, this feels right." I think when I retire, I'm gonna get a conversion van and drive up to Alaska. Is what I'm gonna do. Probably, hopefully in summer.
Well, the girls would love to meet you. They would love to meet you. And one of mine wants to live in a conversion van, and I want to go to Ireland so bad I can taste it.
I think we're going to Ireland. The
Yeah,
three of us are
we're
going to
going to
Ireland. I
Ireland.
see
Yeah.
this a friendship blossoming.
Perfect.
Let's go to Ireland. Yeah, I'd love to. I love
Let's
to.
ask AI where we should go in
Oh,
Ireland.
we don't need to ask Ava. Oh my, OMG, come on.
Okay.
You need to ask Ireland for that. I actually take people on trips to Ireland. I've done it for years, and
Okay.
it's just I take them but I'm a little bit ADHD, so sometimes overdo the planning, or we do too much every day. So I need to have
Oh,
people to say, Trevor, I just said my real name. Pull it back there.
yep.
Pull it.
We'll omit it.
Yeah. So
Doyle.
we're getting pretty close to our next interviewer is going to come in the next like 20 minutes. But what I want to close with, I usually give my guests an opportunity to what's the thing you want to say to the world, the inspiration or the thing you want people to take away from your life and your struggles, and like what's the elevator pitch?
Well, if it's an elevator pitch, I have to say, I think we need to always give ourselves credit for showing up and rewarding ourselves, not waiting for other people to notice, but saying to ourselves, I'm going to honor my effort, not always the outcome. You know, we can make a lot of choices that are even correct in life, and things still turn out in a far different way than we ever intended and maybe that we hoped. But if we continue to celebrate our own efforts quietly and show up, it makes life a lot more fun.
Wow. So I know that was supposed to be the ending, but I always want my podcast to serve people and possibly help people. Wanted to ask you maybe another question or two. Looking back, what were the red flags in your missed relationship that people could like see for us? Like, what did you miss?
Oh, everything. Uh, I would say, first off, if I had been wise, I would have gotten to know myself before I decided to find an intimate partner. I didn't do that. I didn't know. I was young. I didn't know myself, and I came from a bumpy background. Um, that immediate, a person, when you meet someone who wants to be with you constantly, can't give you enough compliments. Today's language, we call it love bombing, but it's
Yeah.
unrealistic, putting one on a pedestal. No one should ever be on a pedestal. There's only one way to go from being held up on a pedestal. It's not real. Just why I think it's one of the reasons that I really cannot stand when people say I'm a hero. I'm really not. But not only that, if someone thinks I'm a hero, how disappointing will I be in real life?
Well, you're not
So
disappointing.
I, yeah, thank you. But, my being held on a pedestal, then things I didn't notice, and these are very common in people who are in coercive relationships, coercive controlling relationships, being pushed away from family and friends and not realizing it. Like, oh, I can't stand to be away from you. It could start out really complimentary, like let's do this together, let's be together
Yeah.
constantly. But then there are little comments like, well, that friend's not very good for you. I don't like the influence that person has on you.
Oh boy.
Are you sure you need that job? That hobby seems really stupid. Why are you doing that? And all of these things, they seem small at the time, but took me from a young woman with a potential good future to being a young woman who really 6 months later didn't really know who I was anymore. If no one is there any longer to counterbalance negative messages that we're getting in a relationship, if we don't have family and friends saying, hey, you're not perfect, but you don't deserve to be treated that way, we're more likely to buy into the messages that we're being sold.
Wow, thank you for that. I think there's people that can really help people, the message, and there are people who are probably listening, maybe not. I do have a lot of people listening, but maybe there's people who are in these things. Do people sometimes, are they in it and they don't recognize it, that they're in it?
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's easy to not recognize it when you're in it. And I think one of the things, even in my novel, Tilka Faces the Odds, there's some admission to the fact that if we get lonely enough, like I'm a workaholic and I will work around, the clock 7 days a week, given the opportunity. But then sometimes I'm like, man, I'd like to date. It's been a year or 10 years or whatever.
Hmm.
You're more likely to let down your guard and to not look at something objectively or a person objectively if you allow yourself to be too isolated and lonely. We start to see what we need to see in someone, and that can be detrimental all on its own.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we both in our relationship ignored a lot of red flags too. And, I mean, it was, I definitely don't want to compare it to your trauma because mine was so minute in comparison. But yeah, so, well, wow, this is my favorite conversation I've had this year. I love talking to you. You're amazing. And
I love speaking with you both. This was so amazing. I can understand why you all get so many listens. That's fabulous.
wow.
Thank you.
And you might not feel like a hero, but you're my hero. And I can't imagine the strength of going to a country and just, I mean, I wanted to ask you one last question. Like, how was, like, was it his family? Like, did you contact with his family there? Like, how were they treating you when you were there? Were they like, did they,
Okay, so I met them before he kidnapped our children. That was a different experience. When he kidnapped the kids and I went looking, the younger children, I believe that my children's cousins would have helped if they could, but they were too young.
yeah,
In fact, one did try to help and she got into a lot of trouble. But the older family, they stood up for their relative.
yeah.
And there was internal conflict, I would learn later, about what he had done, a lot of internal conflict, but he was their family. I wasn't their family. And so, I didn't see any of that. They weren't terribly kind.
It's a strange thing that some families do, that the daughters are family because they're blood, but the mom isn't family. It just doesn't fit in my head. That's so
Right.
strange. So,
Right.
wow. So this is excellent. So I have to tell you, just as a logistical thing, we did speak for like an hour, so we might have to make this 2 episodes. So we might do
Okay.
we might do another little intro and welcome you back to part 2 here, because if I could get, I know that sounds contrived and stuff. Maybe that's it. We just did it, right?
Sure.
We just did it because I might have to break this into 2 parts, right? Because we're
Okay.
at an hour and 13, which is amazing.
Okay.
Which is amazing, and yeah, and so.
Can you tell us where to listen to your podcast? What your podcast name? Tell our listeners.
Absolutely. My podcast is called Persistence U, and that's the letter U as in university. Persistence U with Lizbeth. And it's wherever a person listens to their podcast. And some of the more recent episodes are up on my pitiful YouTube channel
Okay.
that I keep meaning to grow. But when you're teaching, and I mean, you all know this, you have jobs
Yeah.
and you write or you do other things, nothing gets your full attention. So, but it can be heard in those places. I
Right.
distribute on Buzzsprout, and I like meeting people through Podmatch. Is that how we connected?
Yeah, we connected on Podmatch. It's an
I'm so
amazing,
grateful.
it's an amazing service I'm on there. It's how I'm getting all my guests now, and I'm getting some phenomenal guests like Hollywood producers and best-selling authors.
Wow.
And we just spoke to a best-selling author next week. We have a Hollywood producer on tonight. It's amazing. So it's all on Podmatch. So he's got a good service. The guy.
Okay.
What's his
They
name?
do.
It's the one young guy. I think he owns it. I forget his name. Well. Thank you so much for coming on. Hey, if you guys would like to get involved, go to spirittalkshow.com. See all the information about our show. Please look us up on Facebook and Instagram too. And thank you. And say goodnight, Howie
Good night, Lizbeth. It was a pleasure to meet you.
and Elizabeth.
I love meeting you both, Doyle and Howie. So much fun. I'm sorry our play ended.
Yeah. Well, hey, we could do more next time. I would love you to come back. We need to do a part 3 because this looks like,
I'd love it.
yeah, we got part 2 here. And thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I love the show. All right.
Totally,
Bye-bye.
totally serious. We need to go to Ireland together, to be honest. So we need to.
I would love that.
We're going to
Oh my
Ireland.
gosh, I would
Going to
love that.
Ireland.
Go to Ireland. Euro
Yes.
trip. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for spending time with us. Now go make a story worth telling.